And you want to place your hands on top of each other on your lap, palms up, roll the shoulders back, bring the chest forward, raise the chin just a little bit, and begin to deepen your breath. Bringing your attention to your body and to the present moment. And try and let go of all the things that are on your to-do list and the calls you need to make and the things that you're worried about. And for the next hour, we just put those aside and work on being centered and balanced. So our theme for this week has been finding balance. We had that beautiful big supermoon last night. And so hopefully we're feeling a little stronger today, a little more energy, a little more balance. And we'll work a bit more off the chair in our practice today to see if we can take advantage of that extra bit of energy. We'll take it when we can get it, right? Sure. Go ahead and open your eyes, bring your gaze to the front. I'm going to have you drop your hand down to the right. You can do this in the chair too. And we're just going to sweep over with the left arm. Reach up first and then over. Rotate the ribs towards the ceiling and look up and down. Right side, up and over. Again, rotate, look over and down. Inhale, both the hands overhead, bring the gaze up. Exhale, down to the right, twist and look over your shoulder. Inhale, up to the ceiling. Exhale, down to the left. We'll alternate back and forth with that. Right hand to the side, the left hand comes up and over again. See if you can really lengthen through the waist, the ribs, all the way up the arm. Helps to bend this arm that's supporting you to get a little bit more space there, and bring it down. Left hand comes down, right hand sweeps overhead. Again, bend that supporting elbow, see if you can get a little bit more depth into the stretch, and down. Inhale, both arms overhead. Hands meet, exhale down to the right. Twist and look over your shoulder. Inhale, overhead. Hands down to the left. One more time through the whole thing. Right hand comes down, left hand comes over, and stretch. Exhale, back down. Right hand comes up, 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 and over, and stretch. And down. Inhale, both hands up. Gaze up, exhale, turn to the right, drop it all down. Inhale up to the center, drop it down to the left. See if you can twist just a little bit further this time. Then we're going to come back to the center. Place the hands, if you're kneeling, place them on your heels. If you're in a cross-legged position, place them on the floor behind you, your hands on the mat. If you're on a chair, just place them on the back of your chair. We're going to raise the chest as if we're being pulled from the sternum, and the shoulders go back and the chin comes up. You're going to raise up and inhale, exhale, bring everything forward and the arms forward. Kind of like an upright cat and cow. Come up again, chest comes forward, arms comes back, chin comes up. Exhale, fold it all forward. One more time, inhale it all the way up. Exhale it forward. Go ahead and remove your block if you're sitting on one. Come around to a tabletop position if you're kneeling or in an easy pose. If you're working on a chair, feel free to stand and come around with your hands on the seat of the chair facing it. We're going to raise that left arm up overhead. Follow it with your gaze. Shoot that arm down below the torso and the arm. Come down onto the left ear, and you're going to be pressing down on the left shoulder. Inhale, come up just a bit. Exhale, push into the shoulder again. Inhale, back up to the center to your tabletop. Tabletop on your chair if you're doing it with your chair today. Exhale the right arm up and overhead, follow it with your gaze. Sweep that arm under the torso, under the arm, and come down to the right ear. Once again, inhale, raise up just an inch. Exhale, push into your stretch. Inhale, back up to tabletop. We're going to bring the knees to the side of the mat. If you're sitting on a chair, just spread the knees apart in the front of the chair. On the mat, we're going to bring our hips back to the heels and come forward into child's pose. Feel free to have your block below your forehead to give you a little bit more space if necessary, and bring those arms out in front. In a chair, you're just going to drop your face between the knees, drop the hands down towards the floor. The main stretch should be in the lower back, upper hips. Go ahead and roll your head back and forth, giving you massage to your third eye and your forehead. Remove the block, and we're going to walk both the hands over to the right. Again, if you're on the chair, you can just do this and walk the hands over to the right where you're bent over with the chest against the knees, against the thighs. Big inhale, exhale back to center. Inhale over to the left. Stretch out through that right side. And come back to center. We're going to come on to puppy pose. So come to the forearms, bring the knees together. Once again, if you're doing this with the chair, you're just going to have the forearms on the seat of the chair, and you'll be standing behind it. Let's try and perfect this pose. So we're going to roll the shoulders back. Make sure the index fingers are parallel to each other. Make sure your shoulders are right under the elbows are right under the shoulders, and the knees should be right under the hips. And then pick the fingers up, dig into the mat with the fingers, and it's going to be an inside motion. You're not going to see anything from the outside. We're going to pull that mat towards the chest. So you're creating an inner tension between the arms and the chest, kind of a little mini pull-up. An isometric exercise. Great. And then go ahead and walk the feet back and come into Sphinx pose. If you're working with a chair, you can come down to your knees with a blanket below the knees with the forearms on the chair. Again, we're going to work on perfecting this pose. Roll those shoulders back. They want to come up by the ears. Bring the chest forward, bring the chin up. Really press the hip bones into the ground. Press the top of the feet into the ground. Inhale, exhale, push up a little bit more onto the arms, deep in the back bend just a little bit. Be sure you're pushing the hips into the ground to protect that lower back. Then go ahead and release, bring the head down to meet the hands. We're going to bring the right knee up on the side. Go ahead and feel free to use your hand if you need help with that, into a half frog pose. Again, if you're doing the chair, you can rest your chin on the seat of the chair and bring the right knee over next to the legs of the chair. Send that knee out to the right just a little bit, open it up, bring the foot out away from the body. Feel the stretch on the inside of the thigh. It's a little bit different place than when we do a half pigeon. Go ahead and extend that leg out behind you. Walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. Bring the left leg up to a half frog on the left side. Notice the difference between your sides. If you're right-handed and you carry your handbag on the right side, it probably feels a little tighter on the right than it does on the left. Just notice it. Breathe into the hip, into the thigh. Notice your shoulders too. If you're holding a lot of tension, strive to release all that tension. Bring that left leg back down behind you. Tap the feet out behind you. and push back up into your child's pose. Knees on either side of the mat, heels together, bring those hips down. This time, bring the hands around behind you next to the feet. So we're not doing the shoulder stretch this time. We're just stretching out the lower back and the back of the body. Go ahead and raise the torso. Now feel free to grab a blanket if you need. We're going to be on our knees for a moment here. If you need a little extra padding, no worries. Come up on top. Place your knees a little bit farther than hip distance apart. And then we're going to bring that left foot out to the side. You want to be on the sole of the foot. So you don't want to be up on the side on the ball of the foot. You want to have the entire sole of the foot on the ground. Check your posture in the center. The hip bones should still be pointing forward. They kind of want to follow the leg. Bring them forward. Bring the shoulders forward. Raise the hands up. Clasp the fingers together. Point the index fingers up high. Roll the shoulders back down. Bring the gaze up. Inhale. Exhale. Draw a line back on the ceiling just a little bit. Very slight back bend here. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. And release. Left side, left leg goes out. Again, we're sliding out on the sole of the foot. The entire bottom of the foot stays on the ground. Bring that pelvis to the center. Bring the shoulders to the center. Raise the hands up. Interlace the fingers. Point up. Bring the shoulders down. Inhale, exhale. Draw a line back on the ceiling just a little bit farther. Feel the quads in the front of the body, helping you keep your balance. Exhale, hands back to heart center. Bring the knees in so they're both on your blanket or hip distance apart. Stop here for just a moment. Close your eyes, press the thumbs against the heart. Notice where you're at. We're starting to raise a little bit of heat, so you'll probably notice your breath's a little faster, your heartbeat's a little stronger. That's a good thing. Exhale. Go ahead and remove that blanket. And we're going to come around into staff pose. So again, if you're working from the chair, you want to bring your hips to the front of the chair. Let me demonstrate that real quick. You'll have your hips to the front of the chair. Use your mat underneath you so you're not slippery, and you have your heels dug into the rubber of the mat, and the spine comes up nice and tall with the shoulders. On the ground, we're going to do it moving all the flesh aside, making sure you're right on the sits bones. Feet are flexed. Again, we're going to bring the shoulders and the spine up. Raise the hands up. Bring your gaze to it. Very slowly and methodically start to come forward. Same thing on the chair. Take your time with this. Sometimes if we're not using weights, we can give a little bit more challenge to the muscles by just going slow. And then wherever you end up today, if you end up at your calves or your ankles or your toes, no judgment, just wherever you end up is where you're meant to be. Go ahead and drop your head down. Bring the chin to the chest. And breathe. Breathe into the back of the legs. Notice that yummy stretching that's happening. Go ahead and push the heels out as you bring the toes in, and that'll get you a little bit more space as well. And release and come up. We're going to come around into a downward facing dog. Again, you can do this on your chair. You would do it from the back of the chair, folding out to the back side and walking back so that the heels are on the ground and the ears come in next to the biceps on the arms. On the ground, we're going to have the feet hip distance apart, hands shoulder distance apart. Imagine somebody's coming around and pulling up on your hips and creating more of a V shape for you. So the hips are shooting up towards the ceiling. Head is coming down in between the arms. Let the head get really heavy. Then bring your gaze forward. Look past your hands. Bring the shoulders down. Bring the knees in just halfway towards the ground, whether you're on the chair or the ground. And hold. 3, 2, 1. And bring the hips back up into downward facing dog. Walk it out just a little bit. Create some ease in the legs. Inhale, bring your gaze up past the hands. Exhale, bring those knees down. Superman pose. You'll notice as you bend your knees, the shoulder and the spine, everything moves down and creates more space around the neck and the shoulders. Inhale, back up, straight legs into downward facing dog. This time, move the hips back and forth. Throw your little dance moves in there today. And again, bring the gaze past the hands, bring the shoulders down, bend the knees halfway down into Superman pose. Very nice. Come back up and walk the feet towards the hands into forward fold. If you're protecting osteoporosis in your back today, go ahead and just use the seat of the chair to come to. You don't have to come all the way over. Let the hands come inside the opposite elbows and let this create a little weight for you. Drop the top of the head down and very gently rock back and forth. Shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Drop the hands down, and whether you're working from the seat of the chair or the ground, go ahead and begin to roll up very slowly, paying attention to each vertebrae and all the muscles around the spine. Imagine that you're a flower, and as you come up, the shoulders come back and open just like the leaves, the face come up just like the flower, and there you are. Bring the hands out to the side with the palms open. Raise the toes up and spread them out. Make yourself some duck feet. Gives you a little bit more space to balance on. And with your eyes closed, play with the balance here, moving back and forth. Noticing all the little muscles in your feet firing up to keep you balanced. Go ahead and release the hands. And we can do this next one with the chair as well. We're gonna lift the left foot, bring it around the right, behind the right foot. And then we're gonna place the right hand on the hip and the left hand is gonna come down, either towards the seat of your chair or towards the ground. Yogi's choice, what works for you today. See if you can get all the way to the ground. If it gets to be a little bit too intense, bring the weight to the back foot. Drop the head so the neck's not doing any work here. And again, very slowly bring it back up to center. Bring the left foot forward. Now we're going to do a little two-step. Drop the right foot behind you. The weight is completely on both the soles of the feet. Check those hips again because they want to tweak to the side. Bring them to the front. Left hand goes on the hip. Right hand goes towards the ground or the seat of your chair. And bring it all forward. Notice any difference between your left side and your right side today. And again, if you've got a little discomfort in the back of the legs, bring the weight back to the back foot. And exhale and come up. And walk it out. That's a lot of sparking up the leg muscles. And we just gave them a workout. Great. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring the feet out mat distance apart with the toes spread out to the side, 45-degree angles. Hands on the hip. Come up on the right ball of the foot and bring it down. And then to the left ball of the foot and bring it down. And alternate back and forth. So it's like you're pressing out any anxiety that you've got in that foot, any tension. Maybe you did a long walk this morning. We'll give some love to the feet. And then come to the center, tuck the pelvis under, bring the shoulders back and the head high, gaze straight ahead of you, and see if you can bring the knees down, lunge into the legs, and then very slowly, one at a time, come up onto the ball of both feet. Try and find a spot to focus on. I call it a drishti spot. See if you can come up high. And if you really want to take this a step further, bring the hands up into goddess pose and lower down on the knees. Exhale, bring it all up. Bring the hands overhead. Exhale, come down to a squat. Inhale, overhead. Exhale, down to a squat. One more time. Inhale, this time. Really reach up towards the ceiling. You're going to be taller after this class. Exhale, come down wide with the elbows and deeper with the knees. Walk back and forth just a little bit. Create some movement. Beautiful. And straighten the legs and relax. Go ahead and walk it out again. We've done a lot of work on the legs this week. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves down to the mat and reward ourselves. So go ahead and grab a couple of blankets, or if you're at home, if you've got a couple of pillows you can use. And we're going to create a little pad for ourselves here. First thing we're going to do is put it crossways on your mat. So about 2/3 of the way down. And we're going to come down onto our knees, walk our hands forward. The hips are going to remain raised up on your blankets or your pillows. You want it to be about 6 or 8 inches tall. And then you're very slowly going to walk the torso down. Place the elbows out to the side, drop the head down. This will feel a little strange because your hips are raised up and your shoulders are on the mat. It's kind of opposite of what we usually do when we're in bridge pose. And kind of helping ourselves with a supported back bend here. Then go ahead and raise your heels up with the feet flexed and windshield wiper the legs back and forth. Great. Lay the feet down. Walk back up on your hands onto tabletop. We're going to take our little blankie situation here and move it lengthwise on the mat. And we'll come around to a seated position. Move the hips back up against the blankets or your pillows. Walk the hands back. And we're going to do a supported fish pose. So if it's in your practice today, go ahead and come up a little higher on the elbows and raise yourself up. Pay attention to the neck here. If you've got any neck issues, you don't want to hang the head back in the back, just keep the head up, or feel free to keep the whole thing on your blankets and your pillows for support. Bring the hands out to the side, roll those shoulders back on your support. Also, if you would like to bring the legs to cobbler position, that will help support your lower back and push it against your support, your pillows or your blanket. Take a moment here and just concentrate on releasing everything in the front of the body here. So your body is probably trying to hold those arms up, hold the shoulders. See if you can breathe into it and let it all just collapse onto your support, onto your pillows, onto your blanket. We're counteracting all that hunching over we do when we're working on our computer or we're driving or we're cooking. And it sometimes feels odd to have everything go back the other direction, but see if you can bring some enjoyment to this and just let it release and open up and stretch out all those muscles across the front of the body, across the chest. Another couple of deep, big breaths, bringing your attention, keeping it in the present. The end of the next exhalation, go ahead and lift the hips up and come over onto your side. So rather than sitting on the glute, you want to lift up so you're on the side of the hip. And then you're going to bring the torso down on your support. One arm lays to the side of it. You lay your ear on the support. The right hand comes out in front. The knees are stacked on top of each other. And then we're just going to raise up that arm up and draw a big half circle over you and bring it back as far as you can in the back for a chest opening and back down to the ground. Slow and steady. Try and keep it to a count of 6 or a count of 10. You don't want to move through this too fast. See if with each repetition, if you can bring the hand back just a little bit further, increasing that chest opening just a little bit. Each time, maybe just a half inch, but just a little bit more. 2 more times on the side. Nice and slow, steady movement. And reach up towards the ceiling behind you. Really open up that chest and bring it on down. Nicely done. Great. Let's go ahead and come over to the other side, onto our right hip. And again, we want to start out by lifting the hips up so you're on the side of it. You don't want to be headed up towards the ceiling. We're going to lift it up so that you're right on the side. The right arm just falls down to the ground in comfort. Left hand comes out in front. And we raise up towards the ceiling and back. One side is usually a lot more flexible than the other. Pay attention to which one that is, and maybe you can bring a little extra effort to the one that needs a little more flexibility. And very often it changes from day to day. One day will be flexible on one side, and the next day it's a little tighter. That's why we do this daily or several times a week to notice the changes in our body. Slowly up. Gracefully over and back. One more time, tap the floor. Now really reach it out from the shoulder, reach up to the ceiling, very softly bring it behind you, tap the ground if that's in your practice, and bring it up and over. Nicely done. Let's go ahead and move the blankets out of the way. For your pillows. And we're going to do a lazy pigeon. So I'm going to have you're on your right side. You're going to have your right thigh parallel to the front short end of your mat. Again, we're going to lift up so we're on the side of the hip, not sitting square on the glutes, but on the side of the hip. In this pose, the legs are stacked, but the knees are not on top of each other. So the top knee comes down halfway down the calf and rest there. Then you're going to turn your shoulders towards the front of your mat, the short end, and it depends on how flexible you're feeling today. You might just want to hang out here on the hands and just rock back and forth. If you feel like you can go a little further, feel free to come down onto the forearms. Make sure you're on the side of that hip. Maybe you can even come down all the way to bring your chin to the floor. I just had shots in my right shoulder yesterday, so I'm not going down as far as I usually do. Rock back and forth on that hip. Give it a little massage. And then exhale, push yourself up. And we're going to come around to the other side, onto the left side. We've got a big bug in here. Can you see that?
Big bug?
Big white and brown striped bug going up the wall. I was doing wall yoga. Okay, so now the left thigh is parallel to the short end of your mat. And again, the legs are not stacked completely, but the top knee comes down about halfway. Pick your hips up so you're on the side of the hip. Bring the hands around and the shoulders around to the front and walk yourself down if that feels good today. all the way down if that's in your practice. Go ahead and move back and forth a little bit on that hip. Give it some love. And push yourself up. We'll come around to a seated staff pose here. Go ahead and move the flesh aside so you're sitting right on the bones. Push that lower spine in. Raise the shoulders up. Go ahead and grab a hold of the back of the thighs and just see what it feels like when you're grounded there. You don't have to hold it. And then release and see if you can hold that same shape. Bring the hands up, follow them with your gaze, and come forward into seated forward fold. Breathe into the back of the legs, breathe into the lower back. Let the shoulders relax. A lot of times we feel tension here. Bring your toes back towards your torso and push the heels out for a little more space. Inhale, come back up. And then for this next twist, you either can be in cobbler's pose with the soles of your feet together. If that feels like too much of a stretch today, feel free to come into easy pose and just a simple cross-legged pose, whatever works for your legs and your hips today. Start here, raise the chest up, come around to the right, the left hand goes on the outside, and we're going to twist ourselves around with the right hand behind you. See if you can look all the way around directly behind you. Exhale, come to the center. Now the left side. Hand goes on the outside of the thigh. Bring the hand behind you, look all the way around. Notice the difference in the sides of the neck. Come back to center. Hands on the feet. Drop the chin down to the chest. Rock the chin back and forth. Bring the right ear to the right shoulder. Maybe bring the hand to the top of the head. Just let the weight help that side stretch on the neck. You don't want to pull. Just the light weight of the hand is enough to help. Exhale, drop both the hands down to the feet again. Chin goes to the chest. Bring the ear around to the left side this time. Now see if you can raise the left hand and rest it just above your ear and help with the stretch on that side. Now go ahead, if you haven't been in easy pose, bring your legs into easy pose, or if you're working on your chair today, feel free to just sit on your chair and push your hips back against the back of the chair. We're going to drop our hands to the side and we're going to make a fist, not clenched up. You don't want anything really tight, just very softly bring the fingers in to meet the palm, bring the shoulders back, and we're going to do this very slowly to a count of 6. We're going to bring the arms up, giving the biceps a little workout here. And when you reach the top, begin to bring them back down. See if you can count to 6 here. The slower, the better. Here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down. Good job. Go ahead and shake out the arms. We're going to raise that right arm overhead. Support the tricep with your left hand. Make that fist again, not tight. Just bring the fingers in, and we're going to do the same thing going back towards the spine to a count of 6. And then raise it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down. And release it down. Left side goes up. Left arm. Make your fist. Support that tricep with the other hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good job. Release everything. Hands on the knees and do some big shoulder rolls going back. You may hear some little noises here. And now going forward. Great. Now we're going to go ahead and release the feet. Bring the legs to a wide-legged position. Go ahead and grab one of your blankets or your pillows to sit on. We're going to raise the hips up a little bit, which assists with this so that we're not hunched over with our back. Bring the legs out to the side. Go ahead and adjust again so you're not sitting on the flesh, so you're on the bones. And you're going to bring the right hand to the inside of the calf, back of the hand against it. Left hand's going to come up overhead, and we're going to slide that right hand down towards the feet. And instead of the elbow coming straight over, concentrate on the elbow coming back and over. So you're really opening up here, opening up the chest. And look up. And hold. 3, 2, 1, and come back up to the center. The left side, back of the hand goes on the inside of the calf. Now the right hand comes up again. The elbow's coming towards the back, not straight overhead. And hold. 3, 2, 1, and come up. Good job. Now go ahead and place the hands on the top of the legs and see if you can walk the fingers forward just a little bit. This may be just some tiny movements. Some of us have a lot of flexibility in our hips, others do not. Still helps to open it up. See if you can hold here for a moment. Keep the toes pointed up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and walk it forward just a little bit more. Keep that lower back pushing in. Nice. Then go ahead and bring the torso up. Bring the soles of the feet together into cobbler's pose. Thumbs go on the arch, fingers go on the outside. We bring our elbows to the inside of our calves and push, and we bring our chest towards the heels, pushing forward, stretching out the lower back. This should feel like a very nice release. And release. And if you don't already have a chair, go ahead and grab one. We're going to come up under the chair and do some exercises for our brain, working both sides of the brain. And feel free to keep your block nearby. I like to have it under my feet so I can really have a good angle with my legs. Push the hips back so they're really supported by the back of your chair. Roll the shoulders back. We're going to alternate. We're going to lift the right leg up and point it and bring the left arm up and down. And now opposite side, left foot, right arm. Right foot, left arm. Left foot, right arm. Move through a couple at your own pace. Great, and release. Go ahead and scoot forward. You can move your block out of the way. Bring your hips to the front of the chair. Press down on the chair with the palms. And we're going to see if we can get ourselves just a litlittle bit of air. So we're going to push down. May only be a 1/4 inch, but see if you can lift your yourself off the chair completely and hold. 3, 2, 1, and release it down. Inhale, hold up. 3, 2, 1, and let it down. And one more time, push down, release, push, push, 3, 2, 1, good job. Bring that block back. We're now going to bring it to the long position. Bring the feet on either side of it. Flex the feet. Go ahead and grab onto your chair so you're not using your back too much for this. Bring the tummy muscles in real tight. Pull them in towards the spine. And we're going to bring that block up, straightening the feet and the legs. And then down again, very slow, do a count of 6. Up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hold, 3, 2, 1, and down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Try not to touch at the bottom. And up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hold, 3, 2, 1, and down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hold. 3, 2, 1, and release it all very gently down. Good job. All righty, and we're going to end in our chair for a change today instead of laying down in Savasana. I want you to place your left hand over the right. Again, have your block under your feet if that feels good. I'm on the short side, so it feels good to me to have that right underneath, so I'm not reaching for the ground. Bring the shoulders back. Start to breathe deeply. So our focus was this week, finding balance. Last night was that beautiful big full moon, so we should hopefully be feeling some more energy today. And notice as you work through your practice today, the difference in balance from your right side to your left. Does one side feel like it's giving you a bit more of a challenge than the other? Do they both feel like they're really improving and getting flexible? Or do you notice some challenges and some things that you want to work on? Or not even work on, just bring attention to. And then coming outside of your body, thinking about your attitude towards your actions. Is there something we could bring more balance to? Are you perhaps giving too much focus to work? Too much focus to the to-do list? Are you allowing yourself to have time to rest and rejuvenate and come up with positive, creative solutions to anything you need to deal with? Our tendency is so much to work through things, to put our effort into it without raising our head up and looking around. And many times we lose sight of the big picture. And sometimes by raising our gaze up and looking around and giving ourselves a rest, the best solutions just come bubbling up from our subconscious. It's not something that we can force. So treat yourself with loving kindness as you move towards the end of the week and into your weekend. And strive to have balance in all areas. Strive to have enough rest to offset the activity that you have. Strive to have enough treats in your diet so that you don't feel resentful towards having to eat so many leafy greens or anything that are should foods and things that we should be eating. And the same with the people around you. If you're surrounded by people that challenge you and perhaps don't bring out the best in you, or that you feel like you or a little bit more anxious around, make sure you balance that. Call up the people, reach out to the people that bring you joy, make you feel like you're living with ease, that you can truly be yourself. Just strive to slow down, notice where you are, notice the small adjustments that you make. Most of the time, the positive changes that we make in our lives come in baby steps, rather than full sweeping changes. Many times, if on a day-to-day basis we say, well, I'm just going to park a little farther away from the store and walk half a block, get a few more steps in. I'm just going to cut short that phone call that may be difficult, wish the other person love, happiness and peace and success, but not get drawn into any drama. And just strive for self-care and balance. It's our natural state. It's what we come back to. And just being aware of it will help us to stay in that area of balance, where we've got just enough, not too much. And then just bring yourself to the physical part. You've got enough beautiful air to breathe. You've got enough sunshine. You've got enough health and flexibility to show up for yoga. And you've got enough of a positive attitude to make the effort. And all the work that you do to be centered and be balanced and be a peaceful yogi actually radiates out from you when you turn off your Zoom or leave your yoga room, yoga studio, and go out into the world. It's a subtle change in your vibration, and you carry it with you, and you help everyone. So this is not only an act of taking care of yourself when you do this, you're actually taking care of those around you as well. And I applaud you for doing so. Go ahead and bring your hands to heart center. For one last time, push in towards the heart. Check in with the heartbeat and the breath, and just the general feeling that you're experiencing right now. Hopefully it's one of peace and that delicious feeling of release we get after stretching for a while. And drop your chin down and just notice that beautiful spark in your chest. We talked last week about the green light coming from your heart chakra. Just notice that beautiful light emanating from inside. And take care of it. The light and the spirit that's inside me honors and cherishes the light and the spirit in the three of you.